how to describe it. It's essentially a love triangle between four incredibly beautiful young people. It's technically a love square, but that doesn't sound very sexy. Triangles are sexier than squares. My friend Mick, who has a salty sense of humour, says that's because an upside-down triangle is the shape of a woman's fanny hair. That's the thing with Mick. He goes there. I don't mean the clubhouse. They won't let him. Or women's fannies. Again, they won't let him. Let me tell you about the characters in this love square. The novel's called Autumn in Berlin, by the way. One is Rupert Summers, a fiercely intelligent British fighter pilot who could have been a codebreaker at Bletchley Park, but he hated sums, so he joined the RAF and has been named Spitfire Pilot of the Month 2 months in a row. He can make a Spitfire dance like a ballerina at the Bolshoi Ballet. He's not a pilot, one of his colleagues says. He's an aeronautical gymnast, and he removes his pipe from his mouth to laugh, as well he should laugh. So Rupert, the Brill pilot, he falls in love with Erin Heseltine, an incredibly beautiful young socialite who ran away to the south of France to have treatment for her eczema. Now healed, she's blossomed into one of the most desirable women in the world. She's really fit. When she walks by, she turns heads. I mean, literally turns them right round. Hence, she is known as the Owl Maker. Men would pull muscles in their neck just to get a glimpse of her lovely, chubby bum. The reader yearns for her and Rupert to marry, but her head is turned, though not right round, by another man, Rufus Winter, who's also a Spitfire pilot, but is also a psychopath who scares women by saying he wished he had big hands so he could strangle a whale. But Erin fancies him, so she laughs off the big hands thing as locker room talk, barracks banter, mess chat. However, there's another woman on the scene. Helga Damocles is the talk of Cannes. She is a lounge singer who smokes really long fags, actually an ivory cigarette holder with just a silk cut shoved in the end. And she has a steely Germanic beauty like an Audi. Vorsprung Dirk Technik, yeah, and the rest. She's a funny one, Helga. I found her to be a wonderful character to write because on the one hand she's transgender, so you're kind of rooting for her, but on the other hand she's a Nazi, so she's a woke Nazi. No one can figure her out. She's a riddle within an enigma, within a man, within a woman. Does she have a penis? Again, a mystery, but if you just stick to cuddles, it's fine. You know, what you don't know can't hurt you. Again, the love square plays out in the south of France with the looming spectre of another world war threatening to ruin everything. It might be easier, actually, if I just read some to you. I've had it bound, and it's not been published yet. Let's have a look. That's nice. Chapter 1. War Birth. Europe is pregnant with world war, heavily pregnant. Tired and breathless, with borders straining at the seams, she is prone to short temper and constant mood swings. Soon she will go into labour. The midwife? Adolf Hitler, a no-nonsense medic whose bedside manner leaves a lot to be desired. I say again, Europe is pregnant with war. It won't be her first. She had one in her teens, and while she enjoyed her 20s, here she is, approaching 40, ready to birth a second global conflict, which even now would be quite old to have a child, even in Poland, which is where it happened. But come a while, walk with me among the lemon groves along the La Croisette. The lemony fresh odour that is now the hallmark of washing up liquid and sherbet was then the perfume of a pure Mediterranean summer. The groves stretch as far as the eye can see, the fruit hanging in the air like a constellation of floating yellow eggs. On the breeze floats some music from an accordion, an air-powered musical instrument known to many as the bagpipe of the French, but unlike bagpipes, the sound is exquisite. Even Scottish people think bagpipes are shit. But the lemons, oh, the lemons. Erin picked one gaily as she strolled past and clutched it to her fantastic nose. The lemon so firm, so yellow, its bumpy skin calling to mind the pockmarked face of an uncle who had touched her inappropriately. It was under mistletoe. He was allowed, he insisted, but she said yes, but I still have to agree to it. She was so modern. She stamped on the lemon, and juice flew out, and she imagined his brains squirting out, which might seem a bit violent, but don't forget he did try to kiss her, and she didn't want him to. But she was on her way to meet a man she did want to kiss. Which was how, minutes later, she was spasming in a fog of tingling, shuddering glee. Just to say, it's a love-making scene, which I'm sure you don't want to hear. Actually, I am going to read it. I do think sexuality and sensuality are nothing to shy away from, and as a sexual and sensual person, I want my writing to celebrate sexuality and sensuality, and if it helps someone else discover their sexuality and sensuality, great. They kissed at first, deep, hungry kisses that compelled them to breathe exclusively through their nostrils. Their arms tangled as they sought to embrace one another, their glistening limbs interlaced like some sort of erotic waffle. Within moments, clothes had been scattered like big pieces of fabric confetti. They tumbled onto the bed, he on top, her underneath. She made a quiet oof as they landed, but she didn't mind, for her heart, mind, and genitals yearned for him. Rupert yearned too. The solid pipe of his manhood was positively hammering at the front door of her womanhood. "Let me in," it seemed to say. She swung open the door of her warm, wet home and welcomed him in, and as soon as he was, their bodies were like a stormy sea, rolling and swelling and grinding. The grinding continued apace. Rupert ground and ground and ground until he groaned. The intensity of his climax detonated something inside of her like a subaquatic depth charge. It erupted quietly, but its force made its way to the surface until she was giving full voice to the delight with which she was being furnished. For then the pleasure soared, the pent-up desire rocketed upwards like a murmuration of starlings or a colony of disturbed bats in the eaves of a rectory, barreling heavenward, amending up her. "Oh, my God!" she said.
You okay, Mr. Partridge?
Yeah, yes.
You hurt?
No.
You're reading your book again?
Yep. Apologies, that was my housekeeper, Rosa. Sorry about that. She worries. Actually, I do need to get going. I have another check-up at Dr. Gordon's. And tomorrow I have a rather exciting evening ahead. As I say, I'm very keen to secure a publishing deal. And to that end, I've become involved in a Norfolk-based writers group.